Coaches. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, they can't hold a flame against you, ay. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, got the game, it ain't no issue, yeah. Blowing the whistle, I had enough with you, the championship, it is gone. Ain't listen to you, I can't give it to you, cause you don't know what I've been on. This is the Coaches Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. I am your host, as always, guys, Coach Steve. We have a killer episode for you guys today. We are talking free agency. If you didn't catch it all last week, it was insane. Probably one of the most craziest free agencies I've seen in all time. But there's a lot to talk about, a lot of signings, a lot of trades. We're going to get hopefully through it all today in an hour here. But let me introduce the crew we have today. Of course, Coach Tyler's back. Coach Tyler, what's going on, bro?
What's up, guys? Glad to be back. Glad to go through all the crazy things that happened in the past week.
Absolutely. And, of course, we have our guest on today's show, Rumboyz Robbie. What is going on, Robbie?
What is good? What is good? Hey, I'm happy to be back. Cheers to me. Cheers to you. Shout out to the Fantasy Coaches crew, Dilly. I'm ready to have some fun.
Absolutely. So we're going to have fun. So we're not going to lollygag a little bit here. We're going to get right into the meat here. And we're going to start off with some quarterbacks. Obviously, if you watched last week's show, we did a bunch of the Kirk Cousins. We did the Russell Wilson. We did all those last week here just because we were doing quarterbacks last week. But today, we're going to talk about some of the minor signings. And we're not going to go through each one of these because they're not all that important. But we'll go through them real quick here. Jacoby Brissett to the Patriots, Jameis Winston to the Browns, Tyrod Taylor to the Jets, Sam Darnold to the Vikings, Drew Lock to the Giants, Mason Rudolph to the Titans, Marcus Mariota to the Commanders, my boy Sam Howell traded over to Seattle, Josh Johnson signed with the Ravens, Kenny Pickett traded to the Eagles here, Joe Flacco signs with the Colts on a pretty big one-year deal, Jimmy Garoppolo signs with the Rams, Desmond Ritter's traded over to the Cardinals here. All right, boys. So obviously, like I said, we're not going through each and every single one, but give me one or two that you really like that maybe dynasty managers might want to invest in as an depth piece. Anyone here that sticks out like, oh, I got to have them on my bench. You know, something might happen with them in the future.
I'm just gonna straight up say when I heard about Sam Howell leaving Washington, first off, the young man impressed me last year for my Commanders. You know, rocking the Commanders chain, all about the gang. And Seattle, you guys got a good one. Dynasty managers, you want to, stash a quarterback. You're not sure how Geno Smith may look this year. I know some people are high on Geno still. Some people are low on Geno. Some people may feel like, it could be like a half a season type of deal. Howell definitely showed that he could play, and I wish we would have gotten to see what he could have done behind this retooled Commanders offensive line. But it's like rain on a cloudy day. I'm sad, Sam. Got me over here singing Alanis Morissette. I just skipped the Drake vibes. And so, yeah, I think we should invest in Sam Howell. I think he does have a bright NFL future out of those that are on this list.
I like it. Coach Tyler.
Yeah, love Howell. Geno ain't a young buck anymore. So, not bad to invest in a young guy who has that starting experience. One that's interesting to me, dirt cheap guy, if you've just got space on your roster, Drew Lock. There's been kind of some up and down in terms of, one day the Giants love Danny Dimes and the next they're going to get rid of him and find a way to draft a quarterback in this draft. And with just so much in the air, it doesn't hurt to have a guy that has starting experience and, he's cheaper than dirt cheap. So he's a guy that I would look at to throw if you've just got an open space.
Yeah, I back that actually. I back that. The Giants are so hot and cold. The irony of two players that I'm very, very close with, both being New York Giants and Daniel Jones and Drew Lock, both being on the same team is weird, same draft class and everything. But you're not losing anything if you're New York by switching one for the other in the middle of the season, especially if the season goes how I think that we all are predicting it to go.
Yeah. There's also Sam Darnold. I mean, there's no quarterbacks in Minnesota right now. Everyone expects him to trade up, but
good sell high candidate.
Yeah, we don't know what those trades are going to look like, if they're going to end up with a Bo Nix or if they're going to somehow work their way into a Drake May, Jaden Daniels type situation. So, Sam Darnold, very sell high if you've somehow got him on your roster. If you don't, pick him up off the waivers and then sell high on him. But just free space, free capital.
For the Rumboyz brand, I can't go with the show face Sam Darnold on that one. So gotta make sure
he's not starting week 1.
Coach Tyler said that one, not me.
No way he starts week 1. They're gonna go and get that rookie, and then they're gonna start him. Yeah, those are great options. Obviously, Jacoby Brissett definitely has a chance to start week 1 for the Patriots. If you're looking for backup quarterbacks, which I love having backup quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph, they don't like what Will Levis is doing. Joe Flacco, we saw what happened with Anthony Richardson last year. Hope it doesn't happen again, but that would be someone that I would want to have in my backup role just in case. Matthew Stafford, I don't like Jimmy G, but like Matthew Stafford goes down potentially again. He's older. Jimmy G can come in and fill in as a backup. All kind of guys you can have as depth pieces that are probably going to be pretty cheap for the most part because we saw what happened last year. The year of the backup, and it could be again the way this NFL season's going. So, all right. So let's get over to some of the big juicy ones. We're not done talking backup quarterbacks here. The first one on some running backs here. Big one, Saquon Barkley signs with the Eagles, 3 years, $37.75 million. Do you guys like Saquon to the Eagles here? Do you think that he can keep up with that elite production in Philly? Someone can go, whoever wants to go.
I got you. Yeah, I think Saquon's still going to be elite. One thing for Saquon managers, we talked about it back when we were first opening up, we were talking about free agent running backs. And we were talking about if Barkley goes anywhere but the Giants, he's not going to be that exact focal point of the offense. He's not going to get every touch, every target, every reception, everything. But he's going into a place with, sadly, minus Jason Kelce, unless he somehow gets talked back into it. One of the best offensive lines in football. And he's going in with a mobile quarterback that's a rushing threat. He's going in to a passing offense that has 3 very viable weapons through the air. So Saquon Barkley is going to get valuable touches. And I know everyone's going to be scared off because of tush push hurts, but I think that Barkley's still going to see red zone carries. He's still going to see red zone attempts. He's a little bit bigger and a lot bit better than DeAndre Swift, who those were getting taken from last year. And you don't pay a guy, almost $38 million to not utilize him as a running back. And so I think he's going to still be elite. He might not be the, target hog that he was with the Giants in terms of checkdowns, but I think that he ended up in a great spot for himself. He gets to play the Giants twice a year, so that's at least 2 elite games, but it's a great signing, and I think that he's still who we think he is, and there's even a chance he ends up being better than what he was.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Saquon is going to be elite for fantasy managers. Even as he continues to get older, he still is able to go out there and get the job done. There's a couple of guys that we'll talk about that are up there in age, and I still feel like can go out there and get the job done. As far as do we still see a traditional Philly tush push like last year, because of what Saquon is able to do and the way he's able to bounce the ball outside, maybe we don't see that as much because of how elusive he is to be able to create his own space. When I look at Saquon Barkley, there used to be a UFC fighter that was known for his elusiveness by the name of Lyoto Machida. Okay, I look at Saquon Barkley like the Lyoto Machida of running backs, where he can just create his own space with very little opportunity, be able to gain the yardage. I enjoy this signing. I don't think that offensive coordinators innovate. I don't think that we see still some variations of the tush push. I don't think that we see it super heavily. I think that this maybe looks like a more traditional, kind of offense now, especially without having Jason Kelce. I mean, he was on New Heights and stated he was like, "No, guys, it's not coming back." Like he's like, "It sucks that you had to go and get Saquon right now, but I'm not coming back." But no, I think for fantasy managers, we're in a good safe space.
Yeah, I mean, overall, he's going to be one of the top backs in 2024 for sure. I mean, He definitely somebody I'd look to sell high if the price is going to get you a lot out of it. It's definitely hopefully going to get you a lot during the season. I would shop him around and see what his value is personally right now. I think he's going to be great for the offense there. I have still concerns about the touchdowns, the touch push. I'm still concerned with that, whether or not they use it less. It's still a weapon in their offense that they're going to love. The receptions and targets are going to be slightly concerning for me if they're going to give him that. He's not going to get 80 plus targets. I don't think he's going to get 80 plus targets. He might get 60. It's just the way that Eagles offense runs. Jalen Hurts is not going to dump the ball every time if he can run the ball. He's not. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be great this year. And if you have him on your team, you should be pretty happy. You should hopefully have a better season and hopefully more efficient season than what we saw last year. It's definitely an upgrade of offenses. Again, it's a good sign for Philly, but a good time to sell high on Saquon, who looked like he was kind of like on and downward spiral a little bit at the end of the season there with the Giants. But yeah, good for the Eagles.
Really quick, just from like the NFL standpoint, for opposing defensive coordinators, I mean, this is the NFL. I want to use the words "I feel bad for you," but I mean, it is what it is. My team is in that division. We have to deal with it as well. So no cop outs whatsoever by what I'm about to say. But for opposing defensive coordinators, how they're going to be able to, do we key in on, is it going to be a Jalen, run, wild on us, game? Is it going to be Saquon, that's going to go out there and whoop our ass this week? Is it going to be AJ Brown? Is it going to be Devontae Smith? Is it going to be a tight end game with Dallas Goedert? I love this. I just think that this team overall with the move is super fantasy football friendly. Look for all pieces, whether it's dynasty, redraft, when we get into the season DFS formats. Think big picture with this offense. It's going to be a thing of beauty.
There's definitely big upside involved for sure with all these players now in Philly. All right, over to the next running back signing here. Josh Jacobs signed with the Green Bay Packers, 4 years, $48 million. You see his stats from last year here. You got it hurt at the end of the year. Can Josh Jacobs thrive in Green Bay? Who wants to go with this one first?
I will start here. And young man, you wanted your bag and you got it. You wanted your bag and you wanted something fairly long term. And you absolutely got it. So first off, props to you for that. I'm always an advocate of players getting paid. You're never going to hear me gripe about they overpaid for this or whatever. No, this is a business. Get your money. With that being said, this was already a massively, preposterously underrated, undervalued team. We look back at the way that the futures opened up last year from, the whole Vegas standpoint. And I always believe that there's a cross between betting and reality and fantasy where all these things have a beautiful, beautiful marriage. I think that you can easily begin to lock in the Packers in terms of future. I think that you can easily lock in Josh Jacobs. They're giving him a 4-year deal. Clearly, they have some type of faith in him. I don't mind this. Mind picking up Jacobs, even in Dynasty, if I need a team, if I'm thinking startup and I'm thinking, I want to hurry up and win now. I want to win in the first year before everyone decides they're going to quit. This is a veteran that I'm willing to go ahead and grab and then maybe couple him with some rookie pairings that'll sit there on the bench until the time is proven. I love this pickup. It makes Green Bay 10 times more dangerous. I'm not worried that they no longer have Aaron Jones and then he's now across the pond. That backfield was already dangerous with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think it's even more dangerous with Josh Jacobs and A.J. Dillon. So what? You don't have Aaron Jones. What? Or are you going to have two aging backs at the same time? Let's be logical.
There's Tyler.
Yeah, we talked about I want to say it was when we were talking about receivers and our young receivers going through, Jaden Reeds and Christian Watson. We were talking about how the Packers offense for sure was definitely in this sort of rookie contract bliss. They have all this money to spend because, Love's going to be up for an extension, but you've got Jaden Reed, you've got Christian Watson, you've got Tucker Kraft. You've just got all these offensive pieces.
Musgrave.
Luke Musgrave. You got what's the other? Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah.
You got all these weapons.
Wicks.
Yeah, basically the whole offense.
You got all these
all
weapons.
Diamonds in the rough. The epitome of diamonds in the rough.
You got all these weapons, and we were like, oh, they might use some of this money towards upgrading that defense. I definitely didn't think that they would go running back, but I think that this is one of those kind of elite moves that no one would have projected because you do have Aaron Jones. I will say Aaron Jones a little bit better of a pass catcher in my eyes than Josh Jacobs. But, I mean, you get the young guy. He's coming off, 2 seasons removed from an outstanding RB1 season. We see the blueprint for a young offense to just go out and dominate people and kind of shock the world. And I absolutely love the signing. And I think with that 4-year contract, they lock him into as they extend love and begin to develop those receivers and figure out what those contracts look like. That offense could slowly, but also very quickly and quietly work its way up into those, top 5, top 10 offensive rankings. Just
well-ran organization as well. Just super well ran. Like consistently.
Hate it so much. Yeah, definitely a fun signing here. Obviously, this was great here. Definitely a surprise to many. Josh Jacobs is going to come in and help this team out a lot here. He's going to carry the workload for this team, being more efficient than what A.J. Dillon was giving them without Aaron Jones on the field. The red zone efficiency is going to go up with Josh Jacobs on the field, who has a knack to scoring touchdowns here. I know he had a bad year last year before his injury, but he still had portions of his season where he was at RB1 at one point for us. And I think healthy, he doesn't have the same injury concerns as Saquon Barkley does. He's a year younger. He's someone that I want to get on my team as a contender, because he is going to be able to eat up in this offense here for the next few seasons here in Green Bay here. When it gets late in the season here, when it's cold outside, Josh Jacobs is going to dominate late season fantasy football. So great signing for the Packers.
Hey, as soon as a snow game hits, I'm throwing a hundo on Josh Jacobs, breaking 100 rushing yards, bro. Give me 2 TDs, give me 100 yards, put it in a parlay. Let's go. Like, yes, and give me that on my fantasy team.
Absolutely. John, I love that. I love that comment there. Josh Jacobs is Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon rolled into one.
Preach.
The best of them for sure. A.J. Dillon also went back there too, but that's for later on. All right, this was a fun one, obviously. Derrick Henry signs with the Ravens, 2 years, $16 million. Henry's obviously going to be 30 years old this year. Are there concerns with Henry there, 30 years old, or are we going to still see some big success from Derrick Henry this season, guys?
Since we're talking about Kings, Tyler, speak, King.
I got you. All right, this is one of those landing spots that kind of everyone projected, everyone wanted. They said Derrick Henry's going to the Ravens. People want to throw him out everywhere. But everyone was like, all right, Baltimore's got him. He's locked there. And if you had any worry about his workload, leaving an offense like Tennessee where it was built around him, you're going to see a slight decrease, but not as much of a decrease as you would have seen literally any other landing spot. I think in an offense that's as run-based as Baltimore is, especially with the fact that Henry's coming off another almost 1,200-yard season, we haven't seen him fall off the cliff. So I think with the best possible landing spot in terms of not losing his touch value, coupled with the fact that, the Ravens are a juggernaut offense and Derrick Henry hasn't fallen off the cliff yet. I wouldn't necessarily label him a buy unless you're getting a great price on him. But he's someone that if I have him and I'm holding on to him, he's a sell high if I'm getting the right price, or if I'm contending, I'm holding on to that because I know that he's in, honestly, a better situation. Like we talked about, quality touches over quantity touches. He's getting more quality touches with a great team, but he's still going to get almost the same amount of touches that he was getting with Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree with that. One of the things that I look at this, those of us that maybe grew up playing fantasy football, or even older than maybe us, you remember the Michael Vick Warwick Dunn days?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this works out like that to where you could even have both of them. Like I love this when redraft comes around and I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and like 2 QB. Let me go ahead. Let me grab that QB in the first round. Let me grab Lamar. Second round comes around. Let me grab Derrick Henry, because everyone's going to be off their dynasty high at that point. So they're going to be like, I'm not grabbing the aging running back. And meanwhile, I'm going to be sitting back on the turn like, yeah, let me grab Derrick Henry. Maybe, I don't know, we get a Baltimore special and we just get a bomb from Derrick Henry right from the 20 to Lamar Jackson. So like I love this. I love this because you know he's gonna bring some of those Tennessee-isms with him. And like, hey, like these are some like the clever things that we did, you know, Vrabel's system. And Harbaugh's gonna be like, oh, like we could plug and play, you know, with that. The dude's a bowling ball. Like this Baltimore run game just got 10 times better.
Definitely did.
Kansas City, look out, come the playoffs. I'm gonna say that as well.
Well, we'll see about that. That's getting ahead of ourselves there. But yeah, I mean, he's in a similar situation than he was 2 years ago. He has no backup. Yeah, Keontae Mitchell's there, and I loved him, but he's coming off an ACL injury. Justice Hill, I mean, whoever else they bring in there. So he's kind of back as like the only guy that will run the ball outside of Lamar. Again, he could see maybe fewer touches, maybe potentially, but when they get to that red zone, and it's Derrick Henry on one end and then Lamar Jackson on the other, their defense is going to have to figure out how to stop that. And 9 times out of 10, who knows what they're going to do. And this could be a season where maybe Derrick Henry barely breaks 1,000 yards, but for 18 touchdowns, I really don't think that's out of the question. The way this receiver core is coming for the Ravens right now, there's really not that many people, unless you believe in like Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman there, Robbie. It's going to be a running in the red zone, and Derrick Henry is going to have a high touchdown upside. And if you have him on your team still, you didn't trade him away because of the age, perfect situation for Derrick Henry to land in.
I love the Zay Flowers side of the receiving game. I don't like the Rashad Bateman side.
Remember when you did
that's
like
okay.
Rashad Bateman?
That's okay because like see now with Derrick Henry, you could have Zay Flowers just catch it just a complete laser across the field. Maybe he gets some yak and maybe he doesn't get the touchdown, but hey, Derrick Henry's gonna just pound that in. Like it's fine. Like we're good. 18 touchdowns, like you said.
Yeah. Robbie yelled at me when I said I didn't like Rashad Bateman back in the day. But when he was coming in the league, he's like, nah, he's gonna be the next greatest.
I go very quickly. I jumped off that bandwagon. I was like, week 5 is the time to abandon ship.
All right, over to the next one here. The next tier of running backs here. Tony Pollard signs a pretty massive deal because he could have went back apparently for cheaper options for more contending teams, apparently, I heard. But he signs a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Tennessee Titans. So what do you guys make of this backfield now? Everyone was on the Tajay Spears bandwagon in February, and now you have Tony Pollard. They gave him a pretty big contract. New organization. Remember that. It's not the same team there that drafted Tajay Spears. And then this team goes here day one and goes and says, we're bringing in Tony Pollard. Absolutely. So how do you guys feel about this backfield now?
I am a sucker for hometown narratives. It's I guess as an NFL purist, like many of us, it's just one of those things that tugs on my heartstrings. I'm like, let's hop on the e-bike and cruise down Narrative Street. And with this one, I'm willing to do it. His family owns a restaurant in Memphis. He was a Memphis guy. So headed to Tennessee, heading to Cashville on some pretty decent cash. 3 years, 24 mil. I think he's gonna be pretty well. All right. Tennessee Titans fans, hold on to your britches. You're not getting Derrick Henry, obviously. Tajay Spears truthers, Dynasty heads, I'm talking to you guys. I'm sorry that this happened. I think you still end up with the running back by committee between the two. I don't think it'll be as profitable. I think the ROI on the two-back system here will be as profitable as the next player that we'll talk about in that two-back system. But I like this. I feel like you can get away clean taking Pollard. Spears is more so just going to be your stash. And I'm sorry, Dynasty heads, this one hurts you guys. This is the one that hurts. I'm just dragging the dagger more. Let me get some lemon juice and squirt that in there too with the one. I told y'all before you go. I told y'all really quick. I was on Twitter saying, Tajay Spears season isn't going to happen. I was on my own show saying, Tajay Spears season isn't going to happen. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's y'all's fault. Y'all set yourself up for that. Y'all.
Yeah, you did. Tyler.
As a Titans hater, love this signing as a division rival. The Oilers uniforms belong back in Houston. That's all I'm going to say. But, I saw this signing and it kind of confused me, honestly. Pollard had a pretty decent season, right? He wasn't outstanding, especially considering the offense and how high-powered Dallas was last year. But, he finally got his chance to shine, right? Zeke was gone, and he was going to be the bell cow guy. And I just feel like he worked so much better in that 1A, 1B role with Ezekiel Elliott as he was coming up in his career. And, everyone wanted Zeke gone, and Pollard was the young, explosive guy. And then he finally got that bell cow. And, he produced, but he wasn't, doing what Zeke was whenever Zeke was, that leader in Dallas. And so, I like the signing for the fact of he could match up with Spears and be that 1A, 1B guy. But that's kind of where I see the most success out of him. I don't see him as a bell cow guy. I don't see him as, running that offense. And like Robbie said, this is a whole different team, right? This is new coaches, new coordinators. And so it's not going to be, trying to plug him into the Derrick Henry role, but it is to be seen what his role is. And obviously what Tajay's role is. I don't think he's going to be, chipping into too much of that workload, but I think that it was an all right signing. Pollard doesn't excite me with the landing spot, but he's also a guy that has enough of the age gap from some of the guys that we've talked about that I would be happy having him and seeing what the future looks like with him.
Yeah, no, he also doesn't have as many carries as some of the other guys we just mentioned on the slot here. It definitely hurts his overall value. I think this could be a great time to buy low on Tony Pollard if you believe in the talent. I don't know what's going to happen to this Titans offense. It looks like they're gearing up to make a big offensive change here. Is Will Levis going to dump the ball off enough for Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears to both be relevant? I don't really think so, to be honest here right now. I think both guys are great buy lows if you can get them for the cheap. Knowing what you would have to assume that Pollard's going to be the 1A. He's probably going to see 60 to 65% of the work, while Tajay Spears is involved in more of a 30, 35% of the workload there. But it's kind of hard to imagine that we're going to see, upside from either one of these guys, especially in an offense that may not be really good still, despite all the moves they're making. But again, he got his money, so good for him. He got paid for what he wanted. He obviously wanted a big payday, which is good for him. So over to the next one here. Austin Eckler signs with the Washington Commanders here. 2 years, $11.43 million. Can Austin Eckler rebound here, Robbie?
Really quick before I get into Austin Eckler, I love that there was parts during both of our pretty much on all of our takes. The previous players, Tony Pollard, where I was like, we low key just like shitted on the Titans. And we were trying to be so professional, but it was like I kept feeling it, and I was like, oh. But no, moving on. Let our GM Marcus Peters cook. Like for real. It's a little like, a couple years signing here, spend some money here, spend some money there. We still got money to blow. I got money to blow. I'm so excited. Eckler, Brian Robinson. I think that these two still very, very much pan out for fantasy managers, even in a two-back system. I think that both could be equally profitable for you. Eckler has already said, is going on record, hey, the best I ever was when I was, in tandem with Melvin Gordon behind me, And I think that we see Eckler be the pass catching, create space, operating space type of back, where we're going to see between the tackles, goal line touches, third downs, etc., go to Brian Robinson, which is equally as profitable. By the way, if you guys are viewing the show, make sure you guys like, you comment, you subscribe. I want you guys to also share the show, share the link everywhere you can on all your social media. But I love this pickup. I love every single pickup that has happened for Washington. A+. Okay, that's me being biased. Hey.
Hey, my time will come later for that. Don't worry.
Oh no.
But yes, both backs in the system are rosterable. Are rosterable.
All right, Coach Tyler, what do you got to say to that then?
Yeah, I will say Washington has made a lot of really good signings, and I think just echoing what Robbie said, with what Eckler said about himself, right? His most profitable time, the best that he was. And this is a very avid fantasy player. So when he speaks about football, sometimes we can see the little fantasy biases in there, right? He sees himself as his best seasons being when he was the pass catcher. And he slots right in with Brian Robinson to where, Robinson's going to run the rock. Eckler's going to come out and catch the ball. And I think that that's one thing that we saw a lot with the Chargers was post Melvin Gordon, they were trying to make Eckler a bell cow who's getting all the touches and all the receptions. They're trying to make him like a Christian McCaffrey when Eckler is not a Christian McCaffrey guy. And Eckler has a lot of success. We even see right here, 51 receptions this past season on what everyone thought was his fall off year. And so another thing to look at with Washington is there's like a 99% chance that they're bringing in a young quarterback with that second overall pick, right?
Yeah. Possibly Jaden Daniels is how mocks have adjusted. You were seeing it was going to be Drake May. You're now seeing Jaden Daniels, which I actually prefer.
Yeah. So they're bringing in a young quarterback, and we talked about it. Logan Thomas ain't there. I don't know how much help he would have been, but these young quarterbacks are going to need to dump the ball off somewhere.
Zach Ertz and Cole Turner gives you 12 personnel. Zach Ertz.
I forgot Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz is there, yeah.
Yeah,
forgot Zach Ertz is there. But young quarterbacks can need to dump the ball off. Why not dump it off to one of the best pass catching running backs that we've seen over the past couple of years? So I think it's a great signing for the Commanders if they can put him back in that role where he thrives. I don't think he rebounds to, that RB1 overall potential, but I think he's still a very viable and valuable piece if they use him the right way, which I think that they will with how they're set up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine signing personally. I mean, I'm not overly enthused about having Austin Eckler and redraft this year. If he's on my dynasty team, I'm not like, oh my God, he's coming back. I think he can have a fine season. Anthony Lynn is in the organization, isn't that right, Robbie?
Yep.
Somebody he worked with very well back in his early days in San Diego, probably at the time. Again, I just don't know what to make of this offense still overall. If they're going to be, it's the last few years, I know they put him into that workhorse role, but Austin Eckler has made his money on receptions and touchdowns, getting double-digit touchdowns. And I don't know if this Commanders offense is going to be an elite offense in year one where they're being very competitive early on with a rookie quarterback on the helm, or if Marcus Mariota has to start. I really don't like that at all for this Commanders team. No offense, Robbie. But it's fine. It's a fine signing. I mean, I'm hoping that he can rebound. I'm hoping that he's healthier this season here and he can be an efficient flex option in fantasy. I don't think there's an RB1 season for him anymore, but he can be a usable running back, RB2. That's the kind of way I see this Commanders team, unfortunately.
I'm not shocked at all. If both teams or both backs land top 24, and I'm down with that.
That's fair.
I'm down with that. One of them is going to land top 10 for sure.
Hoping it's Brian Robinson. Right. Over the next signing here. DeAndre Swift, pretty much the first running back off the board, signs with the Chicago Bears here. 3 years, $24 million. So what do you make of this backfield? Obviously, Khalil Herbert's there. Last year's rookie pick, they picked up Roshan Johnson. A lot of people liked. New quarterback coming in, as we already know. What do you make of DeAndre Swift in the Bears?
Does this turn anyone on for real?
No.
A year ago, it probably would have.
I'm sorry. Yeah, like Ryan Poles, you've lost the ability to make fantasy managers roster bait. I'm just gonna be honest. That's my take. I guess it's okay. What is gonna happen in this backfield? Is someone getting traded?
Someone's getting cut.
Someone's getting cut. Yeah, exactly. Someone's getting cut. Things aren't going well for this organization. Then you're gonna go and get Caleb Williams, or who knows what you do, because it's the NFL draft. This is the same team that jumped up and went and grabbed Mitch Trubisky. So who knows what the Bears can do? There's just too many possibilities, too many wide range of outcomes. This is one I'm willing to avoid. Do you even keep all three? If you're Ryan Poles could possibly keep all three. Oh my gosh.
He probably is going to keep all three.
I'm mad that I just came to that realization live on camera. Holy. I'm taking a shot. Go ahead, Tyler. I digress.
What's even worse is the Bears are now being investigated for tampering for signing DeAndre Swift.
Really?
So not only did they spend $24 million on DeAndre Swift and complicate their backfield a whole lot more, but they might have illegally done it and signed him like 10 minutes into free agency, which if that's what you want to do, go for it. I'm sorry, Bears fans. I feel for you. I've been in this position multiple times throughout my Texans fandom. But luckily it seems like we're on to brighter days and maybe one day y'all will get there. But yeah, I think if there's going to be an odd man out, I think it's going to be Khalil Herbert. He's going to be due for an extension soon. He's not going to get an extension. Roschon's a young guy that kind of got lost in the mix last year, but he was a good developing player at the University of Texas. He looked fairly decent in his usage last year, and I think that his size with Swift and his receiving ability, they could make we're going to call it a 1-2 slap. It's not even a 1-2 punch. They're going to be a 1-2 slap. But I think if anyone falls out, it's going to be Herbert. But yeah, this signing doesn't excite me. I don't want DeAndre Swift on my roster, and I feel kind of bad if you have him on yours.
And then really quick, like Narrative Street. Like, what if now I'm taking the dagger, pulling it back out, and we're just gonna drive it in. Let's get the lemon juice. Listen, what if, hear me out, fellas, what if what RG3 said today maybe has in this new school, social media driven, what if the Caleb Williams camp got a hold of that and they were like, oh wait, we could probably do that. Oh, wait, because it looks like Marcus Peters is willing to spend money, and Ryan Poles' picks haven't been so great. And let's go. This whole conundrum is weird, and I don't know. Like, even with we'll get into receivers later, but like even with the big name receiver they brought in, like I still have too many questions. Like Eberflus is still there.
Yeah.
Is that a red flag to anyone else besides me?
I really thought he was going to be gone this offseason.
OC situation is not great. Shane Warden. I mean, come on.
No, it's like when the Tinder date's trying to take things a little too fast on the first one.
Yeah.
Hey, this Caleb Williams to the Vikings. Lock it in. They're gonna figure out a way.
2 first
Match him
round
up with
picks,
Jettas
pick next year. Oh God. Yeah. It's for good. DeAndre Swift, good for him. I love the running backs getting their money worth. But again, similar situation we were in the last year, where you're going to see Swift and Herbert on early downs, and then Swift and Johnson on late downs. That's going to be again this year. Like, Swift's going to be obviously the main guy. You don't pay this man to not have him at least see majority of the work in the offense here. Is this offense going to be that good with a rookie? I know Kalen Williams is the next big thing, or whatever you might want to call it, whatever, but they have wide receivers on this team that are going to get the rock. They're going to get the targets. He's not going to see 80 plus. Well, I mean, DJ Moore's great. Keenan Allen was good until he got hurt last year. I mean,
have you seen Caleb Williams throw across his body?
It's not great.
You remember when you were a kid and you had the Power Rangers action figures and you'd be like, what the? You'd like throw one arm across like the body. That's what Caleb Williams looks like. Like, am I the only person that sees this?
I see it.
Like, he's generational. My gosh, y'all said the same thing about Zion Williamson, and then he blew his toe out of his shoe and was never the same, okay?
That's how I felt about Trevor Lawrence, but
exactly. Let's stop throwing the word generational around so quickly.
Comes around way too often. But yeah, Swift, not the best signing. This backer is going to be a mess this year. So
the only thing generational to come out of Chicago is Little Dirt. Kanye West, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, God. All right, over to the next one here. Obviously, with Josh Jacobs ending up in Green Bay, the Packers had to release Aaron Jones, and he quickly said, all right, I'm going to go sign with the Minnesota Vikings on a 1-year deal to prove you guys wrong for twice next year. So Aaron Jones, last year got hurt. He's a little older, obviously. Can Jones last the full season? And with Minnesota, quarterback situation is a question mark.
Bro, even in the edit with like the New Jersey, bro, it looks like he's already seen like World War III. Like,
he's ready to go.
I feel like it's mid. I don't know if Minnesota, stop trying to grab everyone from Green Bay and then they're gonna give us a run, they're gonna give us a push. We don't even know who the quarterback is. And whoever you bring in as the incumbent, possibly Penix or McCarthy, who I think that'll likely be, probably fits that mold, that style maybe a little bit better. Maybe they trade up and go get Drake May. That's the only other option I see, though. Look, you're not putting a rookie back there, or Sam Darnold for that matter. At least you won't be able to catch mono up in Minnesota. It's too cold. I just don't see it. I don't see it. It's just too much new happening at once. The thing with Kirk Cousins is that he was able to provide continuity. I don't see where anyone steps up and is becoming the leader. What, Harrison Smith's going to have to yell at everyone? Homie is getting old, bro. No. So I'm out.
That's fair. Coach Tyler?
Yeah. There's nothing about the Vikings that excites me with how their offseason has looked. I'm a big Jay Jettas guy. Loved him at LSU, loved him in the league. Got a lot of shares of him in Dynasty, and I've been toiling my brain trying to figure out if they're going to actually trade him or get him off the team, because if not, he's going to be, sinking with the ship. He's obviously going to be a, top 10 receiver no matter what. But there's just the Vikings are, they're having a Viking funeral, right? That ship is on fire and it's starting to sink, and there's no fire extinguisher to find. And, hopefully a rookie quarterback could bring something to the team, but
I don't think they had fire extinguishers back then. Sorry. We were going with the Viking funeral theme, and I was like, hey, sorry.
No, you're good. But, Kirk is gone. He was the continuity. He was the leader. We don't know what the quarterback looks like. We pray it's not Sam Darnold. We hope that any rookie they bring in is able to actually deliver the ball well. But I don't see a pathway for Aaron Jones to be overly valuable. There's just not a whole lot going on that offense that, teams wouldn't be able to just kind of hone in on him after taking care of the receivers.
It's where he's at in his age and what he's going to have to do in order to help that team win games and help that offense put up points. He's going to look like this picture by week 5.
He's like, why am I here? Yeah,
he's gonna cut himself from the roster because he doesn't deal with it anymore.
He's gonna retire mid-season. But yeah, don't buy.
I'm not even tracking myself in fantasy.
Don't buy into the fact of what you saw at the end of last year. Aaron Jones coming back from injury, having 300-yard games to end the season. He had fresh legs. Defenses were wearing down. Jones might have early on success. You might get week 5. He might actually be a guy who is leading the league in rushing because they don't really have a proven quarterback to throw the ball 45 times a game here. But he's going to break down at some point, and I don't think he lasts an entire season if he's going to see this giant workload. Jones has always been a guy who's enjoyed taking a decent workload, but never seeing that monster workload consistently. And he's already older. He has injuries over his career. Yeah, I'm not really buying in that Aaron Jones is going to break up and have a top 15 season here. I think you're better off selling if you can to a contender and get a second round pick back for him and get one of the wide receivers in this draft class coming up and call it a day. So,
like you reaching, yeah.
All right. And now our second tier running back signings here. We have the Devin Singletary signing 3 years with the Giants, Gus Edwards signing a 2-year with the Chargers, Antonio Gibson signing a 3 years with the Patriots, Zach Moss 2 years with the Bengals, AJ Dillon re-signs with the Packers, and Alexander Madison today signs with the Raiders. And then if you're watching live, you can see some of the non-relevant ones there. But back to the top 6 there, give me 1 or 2 guys that you like in their new location here.
Give me. Oh, okay.
Singletary, I like it.
Just because someone has to look. The Giants are the equivalent. We've all seen Forrest Gump. Lieutenant Dan, you have no legs. All right, this whole team just needs to get together, go out for ice cream. All right, before the season even starts. All right, we're lucky if they even win 4 games. I don't think that this team is very fantasy friendly. But if I need someone and I need running back depth on my roster, I don't mind having Singletary on my roster. The ball's going to have to go somewhere. And well, with the quarterbacks that you have in there, not so consistent ability to put the ball downfield with accuracy. I like Singletary's situation, although Daniel Jones likes to think that he's Vanilla Vic, but
I like the Edwards signings, and I like the Edwards signing. I like the Moss signing. Edwards, we saw, he's going to the Chargers. They just got rid of Eckler. And there was another great running back out of
everyone broke character at that comment.
That's gonna be the offense come week 6 for the Giants.
So Gus Edwards, we've got John Harbaugh, or is it John Harbaugh? Which Harbaugh?
John Harbaugh. No, Jim Harbaugh. Jim.
I always get him mixed up. So Jim Harbaugh is coming over from Michigan, right? And he had another good running back there named Donovan Edwards, right? 2 completely different running backs, but he needs an Edwards in the backfield, apparently. And with Michigan, they ran a pretty decent 2-headed monster with Corum and Edwards. It was kind of that 65-35 split. Sometimes it'd get a little closer. But they don't have really another viable running back that I would think of to trust over Edwards. As of right now, the thought is, Harbaugh is going to try and just rebuild Michigan from last year and bring in Blake Corum. And at that point, we just see another Edwards sitting behind Corum. But at this point, he's got the clearest path to a starting job pre-NFL draft. And so I like just having that opportunity there, another sell high guy. And the Zach Moss signing is one that kind of, I feel like, went under the radar. But with Mixon now in Houston, which we're going to talk about in a minute, Texans going to the Super Bowl, Zach Moss was, he was very viable. And he was, tell me if I'm wrong, he was a top 12 RB in those 4 weeks that Jonathan Taylor missed at the beginning of the season.
Oh, he was.
I could be wrong on that.
I will find out for you.
I Moss at a startup, and I'm so happy about it. Everyone was like, "Damn it! I didn't realize anyone was gonna see Moss still sitting there." And I was like, "No." I saw as soon as Joe Mixon got released, I was like, oh, "I've never been so happy to have a Bengals."
Yeah, that was once he got signed. I figured Mixon was kind of on his way out. There had been all those talks about it, but Zach Moss looked great for the Colts last year in his time starting,
and started becoming a menace to society to the city of Cincinnati. So he had
Zach Moss was RB4 through week 9.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So we've got a guy that has a track record at least.
This week 1.
Yeah, exactly. Zach Moss is a guy that showed us last year. He had kind of that breakout that we had been waiting on for Zach Moss all that time in Buffalo. Ends up as a backup to Jonathan Taylor and is RB, what was that, 4 through week 9?
Yeah.
And he's going into
1 through week 9.
And he's going into a backfield with Chase Brown, who I think he can compete with. Especially if he's putting up those kind of numbers. So Zach Moss, as long as the Bengals don't, go day 2 running back in the draft, there's a chance that he's coming out here. It's a cheap little deal right now, but you're getting him cheap in terms of draft capital if no one's thinking through the rosters like this, right? Zach Moss has the ability and has shown the ability, at least in short term, to be an RB1. And you extrapolate that over, hopefully a healthy season of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in that offense with a little bit bulked up offensive line from a couple years ago. Zach Moss
they lost Jonah. They lost Jonah Williams.
I didn't see that.
That sucks.
Oh,
that hurts.
Yeah. That is tough. But he's a guy that I look at, and he's one of those under the radar signings that, name value is not really going to make people love him. But if you look at the situation, at least how it stands right now, I've got him on my bench in a lot of places for being my handcuff and backup to Jonathan Taylor. And he's still on my bench in a lot of places because I thought that he might do something this offseason. And this is possibly the best case scenario unless he had gone to like a Dallas or something.
Moss managers, we're eating right now. Like
Yeah,
that's
you have to be
started,
pretty
we're
happy.
already eating. Yeah.
Him and Devin Singletary are great, mid-tier running backs that own this season here. They're going to probably see the workload in their offenses, and unless a rookie comes in and just wows, and they even draft one. Those two guys, I think, alone are in for a pretty decent, borderline RB2, RB3 season. Gus Edwards, I still don't like as much there. I think the downgrade in terms of the mobility quarterback from Jackson to Herbert, even though Herbert has a little run to him, there's something there for me that I don't really care for. I think Edwards doesn't have a receiving game to his game, very minimal receiving yards and receptions over his career. I don't think he's going to turn into one now. Antonio Gibson's interesting. It might not be this year, but Ramondre Stevenson is gone after this year. I don't know if Ramondre Stevenson has shown enough overall to be like, yeah, let's sign him to a big contract next year and bring him back to the team. He's been a good passing downs running back, of course, but Edwards has seen RB1 seasons in his career. We'll see if something like that kind of helps him out overall. And maybe not this year, but if you're in Dynasty, having him on your team could be a good longer-term investment. He's there for 3 years, so that could be interesting. And don't worry about Alexander Madison. Sell him off now that he signed with the team.
No one cares about the bottom two. The top four, I'll roll the dice on. The bottom two, AJ Dillon and Madison, I don't care.
Yeah. No one cares about them.
Yeah.
Trey Sherman could be interesting. I don't want to say he's not relevant, but if something happens to Taylor, he's been hurt over his career a couple times throughout a couple seasons here now. He looked kind of good in that Colts backfield. Just saying, if you're looking for absolutely cheap, do nothing, Trey Sherman's that guy.
That'd be cute.
All right. Quick promos. Obviously, me and Tyler are right for Dynasty Nerds there. If you use the promo code COACH, you get access to the Dynasty Nerd GM, the film room, all great stuff that's going over there on Dynasty Nerds. So if you use our promo code, you get a nice little discount over there. So please go and check that out if you already aren't there. Obviously, did it as well. Haven't used as much this offseason yet, but they are a fantastic tool if you wanted to have more of a one-on-one personalized conversation about fantasy football. It's really cool that you can share your screen. You can kind of break down with an individual analyst and get fantastic fantasy advice. So did it, Dynasty Nerds. Check out those both, please, if you can. All right, we're over to the wide receivers here now. Calvin Ridley signs. We all thought he'd go back to the Jags. Now he's going to the Patriots. No, he's going to the Tennessee Titans on a 4-year, $92 million deal, something that they didn't give A.J. Brown, but that's who here say. So can Calvin Ridley do well in Tennessee?
Who the hell's going to pass him the ball?
Amazing Will Levis.
Ew. Yeah, I just look. Whenever they eventually get a quarterback, who knows? Maybe Ewers, something or the other. They're obviously not going to go and get one this year. Everyone's like, "Oh, every team has to go and get a quarterback this year." Stop. First off, even if they do, it won't happen until maybe the later rounds, And at that point, it'll be a guy. It'll maybe possibly at best turn out to be like a Brock Purdy type situation, right? Where it's like, oh, no one really, everyone overlooked them. Look, there's no one to give them the ball this year. I'm not buying into Tennessee's passing game. What is Tennessee's passing game giving you post AJ Brown that you can positively hang your hat on in fantasy football?
So Calvin Ridley's a good buy low, that means. If people are feeling the way Robbie does, go buy him low.
Do not roster. He's a do not roster.
It's a different offense now, though. It's a different mindset in this coaching staff.
I'm still not taking that game.
I'm not paying up to get Calvin Ridley. That's for sure. I'm definitely not paying up. But if someone is upset and you can get him for a second round pick, give me him all day. I'm also not taking him in the top 50 probably. But I think there's some sleeper appeal to Calvin Ridley if things go right with Will Levis in that offense.
I'll take one of these rookies coming out the draft before I take Calvin Ridley. I'll take an unproven. Hey, Leggett, step right on up. There's other things you can do. Like if you're gonna gamble, like there's other things that you can do for your fantasy roster that don't require Tennessee Titans receivers.
That's fair.
I just want to see it proven first before I'm like, yeah, I'm a buy.
So Tyler, how do you feel?
The money's there. Everything else isn't. I saw, being, a big Texans fan, part of Texans Twitter, they're starting to throw Calvin Ridley into sort of that cliff career guys that end up with the Titans, the
Exactly.
the DeAndre Hopkins of the world. I love D-Hop. Hey, they're cooking up some hot dog cereal. If you know, you know.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I don't like, maybe him and Levis develop a relationship like we talked about with Pollard. We don't know what this offense is going to be.
Together? Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Hopefully.
Robbie hates the Titans.
Hey, I do too. It's all right. But I mean, there's no offensive identity just because it's a new coordinator coming in, but there's also no offensive identity because we don't see what the blueprint is, right? With Derrick Henry there, we know what the blueprint is. But you've got a, very, very back end DeAndre Hopkins. You've got Calvin Ridley, who didn't have a bad season by any means, especially coming off of a year vacation. But, Calvin Ridley's there. He could be something, maybe.
How? He only runs 9 routes, and Will Levis can only throw
9 routes. You only throw 9 routes. A match made in heaven.
The signing wouldn't excite me for fantasy. If you could get him like cheap, like not even set like 3rd round cheap, I'd say maybe take the gamble on it, but he's not a guy that I'm going to buy into. He's a guy you got to like pay me to take from you.
Hey, I guarantee that Ridley's agent walked into the Titans management office and was like, "Listen, our guy got busted for gambling and was able to come back and be reinstated. Why don't you go ahead and take a gamble on him?"
Nice pun.
Hey, slaps the roof of the car. This receiver can fit so many damn yards in it.
Oh, God. Let's see. The Titans are building a new stadium. They need to bring a flashy offense in here, and this is what's going to happen. So, all right, over to the next one here. Marquise Hollywood Brown signs a 1-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs up to $11 million. Hollywood the last few years has been he's had stretches of, oh, wow, he's like a wide receiver 1, but then he completely disappears from fantasy football. Not sure why, but can he, reignite his career in this one season to get himself a big payday next year?
I love it. I love the signing.
Yes.
We're finally getting some speed back in the offense. And, Pat Mahomes isn't going to be thrown to Marquez Valdez-Scantling all the time now, right? We've got at least someone that's a little bit more proven with Hollywood Brown. I think that I don't know if I'd say he's going to reignite his career. I think he's going to, make himself a little bit more viable than he has been in the past. But we've seen outside of Kelsey, especially with the offense that they've had, I mean, Rice started to work his way into a good target share, but Mahomes is going to throw it to whoever's open. He has his favorite in Kelsey, but he's a good enough quarterback that it doesn't matter if you are just holding 2 sticks of butter. He's going to find a way to put it in your hands. So I think this is a great signing. It adds a lot of speed to the Chiefs, and I think Marquise Brown, he has that connection with Pat Mahomes now. That's something that you want every receiver on your dynasty roster to have. So I think he is upgraded a ton from where he is. I'm not going to throw him into like the top end wide receiver 2 category yet. I just want to see what he looks like in that offense and what they do in the draft in terms of possible receivers on the back end of the first and day 2. But it excites me to see speed back in the offense in terms of a receiver that has seen success in the league. And I think Marquise Brown, if you have him and you can just sell him off to someone that has a love for Pat Mahomes and is getting excited because they see an actual name value receiver being tied to him, sell him high. But if not, you're getting a piece of the Chiefs offense that isn't Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Justin Watson, who I love Justin Watson. I'm not talking crap on him.
That's their deep threat.
But you're getting a name value guy in the offense, and I think that's what everyone wanted out of the Chiefs. It may not be the most attractive signing in the world, but for what Andy Reid is going to be able to do with him in their offense, I think it's I think he's going to be at least a valuable piece as a low-end receiver 2, maybe a very high-end wide receiver 3 at this point.
Fair.
I am, look, maybe this is where like the X's and O's nerd of me, by the way, Leafs, that comment is hilarious. Because in a way you're right, but at the same time, bloody hell, mate.
Oh God.
With that being said, and with that being stated, the things that Marquise Brown is able to do to stretch the field, whereas Rashee Rice is now able to do what he does best and be the more intermediate route running receiver, be able to mix things up, create crossing patterns in combination with Kelsey and such. They did also bring in Swerve Irv Smith Jr. Onto the roster. So that allows the Chiefs to now be able to run 12 personnel with an even better set of hands than when they had, Noah Gray and so on and so forth. The fact that, look, 101 targets, 51 receptions, go back and watch Marquise's film. Look at how many of those targets were catchable out of the one-on-one. That's first. Second, look at what he can do through air yards. I know I'm not the biggest proponent of air yards, but he's a top 10 guy in terms of just air yards alone. That means that even in Arizona, they were targeting this man downfield. They knew what they could get out of him. That means out of those 51 catches, there's probably a couple of those that were bombs. I can't, pull the stats up right now. But yeah, 574 yards. I think that you see that double. I think that you see that double in this Chiefs offense. Mahomes is happy about having Hollywood Brown. I'm happy that Hollywood Brown is with the Chiefs. It's a perfect landing spot. They still also maintain having Mecole, which allows them to have a gadget guy as well. This offense is going to be absolutely bananas because now it's just too much speed for you to handle between Rice, between Brown, between Hardman. Now you get to go 12 personnel with Irvin and Kelsey. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Oh, Chris Jones is back on the defensive side, and I'm sure they're going to lock in Ladarius Sneed. So everyone of this on the hype train, like Ladarius Sneed's going to go somewhere else. I'm shutting that down now. Like he's going to.
I respect it.
Yeah, Kansas City is loaded from the front to the back. Special teams is even going to be nasty. This is dangerous. I'm sorry. Rest of the NFL, pray. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I think it helps the Chiefs' offense out, helps Pat Mahomes out, gives him that deep threat. I would still be selling high on Hollywood Brown with the connection to the Chiefs. I don't know if he gets 100 targets. I still think this team runs through Travis Kelce with Rashee Rice developing into a really good wide receiver 2 for this team here. Brown's going to have moments. He's going to have big games at times. It's going to be definitely a bit more consistent than what people thought maybe MVS was going to do for this team here. It's definitely going to be a lot more relevant to fantasy for sure. I don't know if it reignites his career where he's getting over 1,000 yards this season. I don't think he's going to do that. 806.
I can see that. Okay. Yeah,
I can see that. That's solid. That's solid.
900.
Did that a couple years ago.
Maybe at 900. Maybe at 905.
Yeah, Juju did that a couple years ago. So we'll see how that offense works. Again, I'm selling high if I can, but I'm intrigued with the speed that Hollywood Brown does offer for this offense. So
905, 7 touchdowns.
Yes. All right, over to the tier 2 wide receivers here. We have Darnell Mooney signing with the Falcons, Gabe Davis with the Jags, Kendrick Bourne with the Patriots, Curtis Samuel with the Bills, Noah Brown back with the Texans, Rondé Moore traded to the Falcons, KJ Osborne signed yesterday with the Patriots, Devontae Parker signed with the Eagles, Donovan Peoples-Jones signed with the Lions. All right, of this grouping here, who do you guys like?
I just like that Atlanta is finding these like pieces that know how to play football, know how to play NFL speed football. I like that it's not this whole. It's almost like how we build dynasty rosters. What is what I feel that Atlanta has done, where you want to have that healthy balance, where you want to compete. You don't want to be like in full rebuild from like the moment that you enter a startup, like all the way through. You want to have a healthy balance between veterans and still leave some room to when your rookie draft comes around, be able to fit the right rookies in a system that you like and that you see fit. And I feel like Atlanta is doing that. Mooney, Moore, who can also fill in on special teams. I think these are pickups better for NFL. how it's going to turn out for fantasy. I like Mooney maybe as a late low tier wide receiver 2, maybe 2 or 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if he surpasses those expectations. Kind of to the point that Tyler was making about Marquise Brown. I think that Mooney could maybe fit himself into that same window. Curtis Samuel going with the Bills is just it's just great. Like anytime you have Josh Allen as your quarterback, like your stock kind of. I mean, he's still at a wide receiver 2, but your stock you're going to go out there and play when you're playing on a better team, better organization, better quarterback, so on and so forth. So I like that.
Tyler.
Yeah, definitely Curtis Samuel. Saw the other day, FanDuel posted on Twitter a picture of Stephon Diggs in a Texans uniform. Like Robbie was saying, there's a little bit of speculation between the NFL and some gambling, right? And if FanDuel's posting that, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but we'll see.
Tampering.
Shh, don't say nothing. But, Curtis Samuel with the Bills, they don't have Gabe Davis anymore. We're going to talk about him in a second. But, there's a chance Stephon Diggs has supposedly been unhappy, but says that he's happy at the same time. Curtis Samuel does get that quarterback upgrade with Josh Allen. There's a chance that Samuel works himself into a pretty hefty role just because of all the dominoes falling around him since he has signed with the Bills. And so I think that he's a guy that's, you love him because he's with Allen, but you love him more because of what could happen if Stephon Diggs is traded away or possibly a post-June 1st cut. But there's just dominoes that have fallen and dominoes that are like just tilted over a little bit that you're waiting to see if Curtis Samuel is going to be extremely valuable or just valuable enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another one, it relates to someone. It's not on here. The Gabe Davis signing to the Jaguars makes me kind of want to go buy Christian Kirk.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
So we've got Kirk, who's now going to be able to slot into his original role, just going across the field, working in, and that's what he does best, right? And that's what, with Calvin Ridley coming in, they kind of pulled him away from that a little bit, had some experimentation, and he wasn't bad, but he wasn't what he can be and what we've seen him be. So now you get Mr. Run Straight Fast, Gabe Davis, and you get to return Christian Kirk to his original role. And that's when we talk about dominoes falling and seeing things clearly. This Gabe Davis signing is outstanding for Christian Kirk because
and Davis seems happier mental health wise too. I think there might have been some bullying behind the scenes. I can't confirm, but I mean I've heard some rumors from like that Bills organization, and I think that he didn't feel like he could be his own underneath the shadows of Diggs. I think that he comes in, and I don't want to use like the word like alpha or anything, but like I think he can come in and be the player that he wants to be. So to your point, a better mental health situation as well, I think makes Gabe Davis a great pickup.
Gets away from the cold.
Yeah. So yeah, both of those, love it. And if Gabe Davis, if part of his play was related to mental health stuff and he's coming in and he's happy, then hey, all I'm gonna say is that's what I tell my friend that believes in Gabe Davis.
Me. Yeah. I mean, I don't really think any of these particular signs really threads the needle. I mean, yeah, Curtis Samuel definitely gets a big bump from where he was last year. Hopefully that's a hopeful. They might draft somebody still. You never know. Mooney and Davis they're the same player where they're going to fit probably in better situations, which could slightly boost their value. Kendrick Bourne, I'm not really buying what he did last year. Long term, Rondell Moore is done. KJ Osborne, I've given up on that guy.
No Noah Brown in Superflex.
Noah Brown's fine. It's just that I don't know if they're going to draft somebody.
In Superflex redraft. No,
maybe a late round pick.
Okay.
I mean, late round pick. I mean, I liked him, but like, it just like I'm nervous at the Texans bring somebody else in.
He won me a couple of weeks because I had no one else's stuff.
He was good in that sense. We're gonna skip this because these are just no one I'm talking about here. So, all right, tight end signings. All right, there's a lot here to run through real quick. So, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper signs with the Patriots. Noah Fant signs with Seattle. Gerald Everett for some reason signs with the Bears. Kobe Parkinson signs with the Rams. Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, Drew Sample all go back to the Bengals. Well, not Mike Gesicki, but Jonnu Smith signs with the Dolphins. Irv Smith signs with the Chiefs. Will Disley signs with the Chargers. So does Hayden Hurst. Adam Trotman signs with the Broncos. Resigns with the Broncos. Any one of these tight ends here interest you at all?
Irv Smith to the Chiefs. But I think that's more so like an NFL thing and less of like a fantasy.
That's fair.
No one here for fantasy. I guess Will Disley to the Chargers, right? I mean, there has to targets have to go there, and there's no more Everett there. So give me Irv Smith, Will Disley, but I'm also a sleeper tight end type of guy. I have like a king for that. So yeah, I'm gonna keep with the brand, and that's where I'm aiming.
That's fair.
Yeah, I definitely look at Disley. Again, talking about Harbaugh and the system that he runs, favors tight ends. That's why, Bowers was mocked there a lot, and, there's still a chance that he ends up there. But for right now, Disley, 3-year commitment. It's not a ton of money, but it's something, and they obviously wanted to bring him in. Interesting one, Hunter Henry going back to the Patriots.
I like it.
I think it's a good signing for the Patriots. We got to figure out who in the world is going to throw him the ball. But he's familiar with the organization as a whole, with the Kraft family. And I think it's just one of those, he took a couple year hiatus away from New England. He's coming back. They're giving him $12 million. I think it's enough investment to trust that, especially with not a ton of weapons around him, he's going to have to be a guy that the offense flows through if they're going to have an offense. Yeah.
Hunter Henry is interesting for sure. He definitely can give you reliable play and redraft if you really want to just bomb the tight end position. Jonnu Smith is
that with also Austin Hooper in that same offense.
Austin Hooper last year, watching him in the Raiders, just looked not the same. He hasn't been the same guy since he left the Falcons. I still think Hunter Henry runs his team.
I
We've
just
seen
worry.
it the last few years though.
Yeah, I just worry about look, that New England brand is 12 personnel. Like I wonder when you have 2 dogs there in Henry and Hooper, how do you feed them both? Like
you don't feed Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper is a solid blocking tight end.
I'm just
for me at this point. He did it. Mike Gesicki was there the year 2 years ago. Jonnu Smith was there. Hunter Henry has just been the staple of this Patriots tight ends. I'm gonna still rock with him. Who else here? Jonnu Smith is interesting if Miami can figure out how to use a tight end the right way. Definitely interesting with his speed and ability. People probably wonder why Kobe Parkinson signed with the Rams for $22 million. Fantastic blocking tight end. Some untapped potential there in his receiving potential. Kind of dealt with injuries the first few years in Seattle. Got a chance to work in a 3-man rotation. No Tyler Higbee maybe this year. We don't know. That could be a very under the radar. Wonder why that even happened to begin with, but it could work out for the season. All right. So that's all the free agent signings we have for tonight. You guys want to get into some trades?
Oh, there's one I want to get into.
All right. Well, let's get through the trades real quick here. First off here, Jerry Jeudy was traded to the Cleveland Browns. Browns get Jerry Jeudy. Broncos get a 5th and 6th round pick. Winners, losers. Anything you want to say about this trade overall?
It's the Browns. They already lost. Yo, did you hear that this man slept in his Browns uniform?
Did he?
Yeah, apparently. Like that's all right. Yeah, he slept in his uniform.
I was gonna say the Browns won the trade, but now everyone loses. That just ruined it for me.
Bro, yeah. Like I'm sorry. It's Jerry Jeudy. Like I could easily see what happened at the quarterback position last year being a carousel like it was last year. I'm not.
Insert Elijah Moore for Jerry Jeudy this year. That's exactly what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm done.
No, it's good for Jeudy. Maybe he'll get a clean start. Definitely great for guys like Marvin Mims, maybe over there in Broncos.
He's gonna pout. He is gonna cry in the car after every game.
Yeah, damn. Happy endings. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be. This is still Amari Cooper and David Njoku's offense. They're still like they run the ball very well. I just don't think Judy's ever going to get to that level we all want from him. All right, over to the next one. Joe Mixon traded to the Houston Texans after he was potentially cut to begin with. Winners, losers of this trade. Tyler.
Houston's going to the Super Bowl. Go put your tickets in now. Trust it.
And he signed a 3-year deal too.
Yeah. So, hey, you want to talk about Peter's cooking over in Washington? Nick Caserio was putting in work through legal tampering. So Mixon says undisclosed pick here. Now we know it's a 7th-round pick. They signed him to a 3-year, I want to say $27 million extension. But that's the thing Houston fans wanted going in the offseason was really Saquon Barkley, but a running back in general, right? We had Dameon Pierce who went through. Yeah.
A dog that waves guns, but you got a dog.
Hey, he's in H-Town. He's got to wave him now. But everyone wanted Saquon. We want to run it back because, we had possibly the worst sophomore slump I've ever seen in Dameon Pierce. And then we had Devin Singletary, who was good, but also left a little to be desired. So everyone wanted Saquon. And the Eagles got Saquon, probably, I think it was like 45 minutes, an hour into free agency. And I was like, man, Houston's not going to get a running back. We're going to be left out in the dark. I don't know what's going to happen because Henry started signing, everyone started signing, and Houston's name wasn't popping up anywhere.
So I was live covering free agency, and I kept saying during my live, I was like, something Houston will end up with a running back. I was even telling my Texas fans that are in my YouTube live chat. I was like, guys, like it'll happen. I had complete confidence, bro. And you guys, honestly, you fleeced the hell out the Bengals.
Yeah. So the Texans win this trade. Mixon, I was watching some breakdowns on why Houston traded for Mixon and how he works well in the offense, especially with that Bobby Slowick offense. He works best as a running back who's got a quarterback under center. And that's why he did great when Burrow first got to Cincy. And then Burrow and his play actions didn't like having his back to the defense. And so they started going out of the shotgun a lot more. And Mixon, still great running back in Cincy, but he wasn't utilized how he best is. If you watched any bit of CJ Stroud running play action, that's a deep play action that he's going into. And so he's going to be able to hand that ball off to Mixon. Mixon's going to get north-south, and they're going to run that offense so well because there is now the threat of a running game. It's not just, hey, stop CJ Stroud from throwing for 450 yards a game. Now you got to stop a running back that's got some juice.
I like it.
But you also have to stop CJ from throwing for 450 yards a game.
I like it.
All right. Yeah, definitely good for Joe Mixon. Obviously, definitely a nice boost of potentially being released now, but definitely gets in another good situation where the offense is high power. We already talked about Zach Moss and that situation over there. Dameon Pierce is still nowhere near my rankings anymore, so I love it.
He's going to be the next Devin Hester. Don't worry.
Yes. All right. Next up, Deontay Johnson traded to the Carolina Panthers. Panthers get Johnson. They get Johnson, and Steelers get Deontay Jackson in a late round pick swap. Who wins this trade? Who do you like in this trade? Who do you hate? Go for it.
I love that finally the Panthers are trying to find ways to where they can maybe kind of sort of build around Bryce Young. How it's going to work out, I can still see. All that we're hoping really, I guess, for Bryce is look better with the weapons that you have. I don't know how much better the record's going to be. Canales has one hell of a job ahead of him as head coach. I like it. I'll take, a late flyer on Deontay, but it doesn't wow me as much as the next one that we're going to talk about.
That's true. That's really true.
Yeah.
Martavius Bryant.
Oh, God.
I do, like Robbie said, I like that, we see the Panthers actually trying to make an effort to put anyone around Bryce Young, but I don't see a lot of value in Deontay Johnson, at least going from the situation he was in. I don't love the trade for the Steelers. I don't really fully get it. But, they felt good getting Dante Jackson back, who's a fairly decent corner in that late round pick swap. But for fantasy, it gives me hope that the Panthers will do something for Bryce Young. But like Robbie said, I'm not, investing heavy in Deontay Johnson.
You sell off Deontay Johnson now after we thought that the Steelers offense was going to be a run first tight end offense. And Deontay Johnson was going to lose tons of targets. Now he gets a potential opportunity for tons of targets. But again, Mike Williams is getting, looking there. Michael Gallup might be going there, Deontay Johnson might have more competition than we all think. And Adam Thielen's still there. So, and it's still Bryce Young.
Poor Luke Bryant, though, man. He I don't know if y'all saw his rant recently.
Oh, Luke Combs. Was it Luke Combs?
Sorry, Luke Combs. Yeah, Luke Combs, his rant recently about his Carolina. I saw that. I was like, that's an emotional man.
Damn.
I was like, he has every right to be upset.
One of my best friends is a Panthers fan, and I feel bad for him. He didn't make it out the gutter with me. Yeah, Panthers and Texans were in the same spot, and luckily that Hail Mary happened, and we got pick number 2.
You didn't make it out the gutter with me. I love that.
But yeah, good for Deontay Johnson to get another opportunity somewhere else. George Pickens, good time to sell high on him as well because he's right now the only wide receiver that's worth caring about. Definitely good for that sense. But yeah, Deontay Johnson get an opportunity, but good time to sell high. Good late round, mid round wide receiver to get if things go right for him because he's going to see like 120 targets at least this season if there is no like a Mike Williams or Gallup or someone else. Yeah, he's going to be force fed if he's the guy. All right, we kind of mentioned this already, but Keenan Allen is going to Chicago. Bears get Allen. Chargers get a 4th round pick. Who wins and loses this trade, guys?
Balanced. In terms of
I like it.
I like it. I feel like it's equitable on both sides. Look, the Chargers are going to know what to do with that 4th round. They're going to turn that into something. They really need to bulk up the defensive side of things. So I'm hoping that 4th rounder is spent on your defense. There's gems that you'll be able to get. In terms of the Bears side of things, you're getting a Hall of Fame wide receiver. You're getting Keenan Allen. Again, talk about force fed. Keenan Allen's coming in. DJ Moore, I'm sorry, you're back to being a wide receiver 2. In the words of the great Steve Smith Sr., do I put him in a wide receiver 2 or do I play him at flex or do I just bench him? DJ Moore now becomes a wide receiver 2. You don't bring in Keenan Allen and not.
Yeah, they brought Keenan Allen for a 4th round pick. It was like if they traded a second, I'd say all right, they want Keenan Allen to be the guy there. 4th round pick doesn't.
Keenan Allen's
like
still
31 years
going to
old.
be the guy. Like Keenan Allen's literally going to walk up to Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels and be like, "Listen, this is where I'm running. You put it right here on this hash mark. All right."
And he's going to go throw it the other way there.
Oh my gosh! I mean, hey, if it's Caleb Williams with the across the body throws, that might happen.
I think it's a loser for Keenan Allen. I think the targets are going to go down. He's been a guy that's always been a great 140 target guy with Herbert the last 4 years. I think he gets 100. I think he gets 100, maybe 100.
He's going to a worse quarterback, but also you look at value-wise, I'd say it's about equitable. But you look at the position the Chargers put themselves in, they got to go receiver.
Oh, yeah.
With number 5 overall. Like
Malik Neighbors to LA.
Yeah. But which allows them to use the 4th rounder for what I feel like is intended for, which is, maybe bolster up that secondary, maybe bolster up that linebacker core.
Yeah, it puts Justin Herbert in a bad position where everyone's waiting on him to be something, and now Mike Williams is gone, Keenan Allen's gone.
Good time to go buy Justin Herbert right now.
Like there's good enough receivers. The Chargers need to make this move at some point. Justin Herbert was going to have to lie on his own laurels at some point. There's good enough receivers here. Who knows? Who knows who they get at 5 or even later on? I think that the Chargers are in a good enough position. I worry now that like Steve said something during his take with it. Now that I realize that it's the worst quarterback that you're going to, and it's Eberflus. Like Eberflus is still there. Like bro. No, like it easily makes me begin to worry. I've never worried about Keenan Allen consistency ever. This is the first time I think that I worry about it, only because of Eberflus.
I mean, DJ Moore's a younger wide receiver. I mean, he's good. DJ Moore's really good too. I mean,
And they got
DJ Moore's not going to get hurt half the season when like Mike Williams used to get hurt half the season.
Yeah.
DJ Moore will be there all year. So, but Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnson, they might have some value now. We'll see. Depends how this draft goes. So we'll see. That's why Will Disley is a
body catcher QJ.
Yeah. And then last one of the night here. This happened yesterday. Justin Fields traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers obviously get Justin Fields. Bears get a 6th that could turn into a 4th depending on playing time. So who's the starting quarterback for the Steelers week 1? Russ or Fields?
Dangerous.
Russ.
But here's the thing. So like with having those two, dynamic personalities, fans have seen them both, both kind of have almost a similar hero style type of ball play, except no, never mind. They're both pretty much the damn same in the fourth quarter. Just feels a little worse in the fourth quarter. Look, you're able to interchange either one out. I think that the play calling complements. This is what you want whenever you have a backup. You want a backup that can complement what the starter can or cannot do. And maybe even be a guy that can sometimes at a given moment add a spark. I think that Fields could come in middle of the season and add a spark. I think that Fields is still rosterable in Dynasty if you have a spot where you could just stash him on your bench in deep bench leagues. It's going to be interesting how this turns out. It's really going to be dependent on the Steelers receivers' ability. Russ has pretty damn good ball placement. It's going to be up to the Steelers receivers to make sure that Russ keeps his job. If Russ loses his job, it's because he can't hang on to a damn ball.
I think it's, I look at it from the perspective of you look at the conditional pick and you look at the future that Justin Fields could have.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's Russ at least for the first 51% of this season, just to make sure that that's a 6th and not a 4th round pick. But I think that it's Russ for this season. You give him a chance to prove it, show that Denver was just a spot on the record. Yeah, like it wasn't something that really counted. And if he's that, then great. You've got an excellent backup for a 6th round pick. But if he's not, you've got that back half of the season where you play it wisely, which I think Tomlin and the Steelers and Omar Khan are going to do, and keep it to where Fields is playing that 49% and that conditional stays on the lower end. But also you've got this young dynamic quarterback who still has to mature a lot in his game in terms of passing. But I think they have put themselves in a great situation of you either have the revival of Russ's career or you just spent a 6th round pick on a backup that is now going to be your starter that you have the ability to extend, or worst comes to worst, you just end up in a position to draft someone next year.
You have a bridge for no matter what for drafts to come, whether that's 25 or 26. You have, both are super cost effective. Like it really works out well for them. I mean, hell, this team has done more with less. Yeah, I think these guys are more talented than way more talented than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and I think Fields is honestly at this point right now, I think he's a smash buy for me if you've got a spot to hold him on your roster. I was looking, I think it was keep trade cut. I think he was like quarterback 8, crowdsourced value. So you see how the community as a whole is looking at him, not just like analysts. So sometimes those rankings are kind of iffy. Don't always trust them. But I saw that his value, the second they said that Russ was the starter, dropped from, I think, quarterback 8 in dynasty value to like quarterback 24. If I can go get Justin Fields for a quarterback 24 price, hold on to him for half a season, a year, and possibly get a starting quarterback with a well-run franchise behind them, sign me up for that all day.
Yo, the way that you just said that, like there's gonna be some like best ball underdog roster that's gonna like have like Justin Fields on the bench. Fields is gonna
100%.
come in and just begin to line it up, and that's gonna be the person that's gonna win it all, bro.
Oh,
right when you
God.
just said it, I was like, oh shit, I need.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna lock it in right now. There's a chance that Fields, we're talking about it come fantasy playoff time.
Yeah,
he's
Fields,
the guy that you're going to want to trade for.
I'm calling it early.
He sure is.
I'm calling it Justin Fields best ball darling.
Oh, 100%.
I like it. Yeah. No, it's definitely good for the Steelers. Bears, I think, should have waited and got more. You getting a 6th-round pick for a guy who you drafted in the 1st round. That's probably one of the worst trades in a while that we've seen this year, at least. But yeah, Russ is going to start. He's definitely going to start the season. I think the Steelers want that stability, game management. They think they have a team that can win it all this year, and they don't want to take chances at quarterback. They want a guy who knows how to play a professional football the right way. Russ has been doing that for almost 2 decades, or a decade and a half almost now. Fields, I think he has things to learn. I think he can learn behind Russ a little bit and develop a little bit more. You come in 2025, even end of 24, whatever it is. In 2025, they have his 5th-year option. Listen, we're giving you 1 year to prove it. And then if we prove it, you sign a big contract. If not, and Fields continues to have a terrible win-loss percentage record, they're going to be a top 10 team probably drafting in 2026. So it's a win-win all the way. You find out a lot of things about a lot of people. So
I do think the Bears, you said the Bears should have waited and tried to get more. I think they kind of waited too long and put themselves in a position where this was about the best they could get. That's why it's a conditional if he even plays.
That's true.
But it was, I mean, you go look at the transaction logs of the quarterbacks that either were signed or traded before Justin Fields, and there's like 15 guys on there.
And they just
one slide had a lot.
Yeah, they just need to figure it out before the incumbent stepped into the building anyways. So, I mean, it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, boys, we're going to wrap tonight's show up. This was an amazing show. A lot of fun shit we talked about tonight. Robbie, my friend, always a great guest to have on the show. If there's anything you want to go and mention, my friend, I'll give you the floor now.
Check us out, Rumboyz Fantasy Network, over on my YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Fantasy Coaches YouTube, because I appreciate them for having me a guest on their channel and on their social media outlets that they're live on. So make sure you guys give them a follow wherever you're viewing. And then, best ball season coming up on Underdog. So make sure you guys check me out over on Underdog Fantasy as well. I am the new Discord marketing manager over there for our Discord. So, yeah.
Let's go, Robbie. Love that.
Dilly, y'all.
Dilly. Coach Tyler, anything you want to say before we get going?
Yeah, like Coach Steve said, go check out Dynasty Nerds. You got Film Room. You've got all 22 film there you can want. You got Dynasty GM. I've been pulling out a couple trades this week with free agency things happening, and that Dynasty GM is helping me out with my values and making sure my team's in the best position to win. Use code COACH. It's one of the best tools all around that you could have, one of the best subscriptions you could have. I stand by that. I don't say that as a writer of the company, but I say that as someone who uses it very frequently. So go use code COACH. Go check out Dynasty Nerds. Go check out the Debbie section for all of our mock drafts and rookie spotlights and everything going on leading up to the end of April.
Yeah. And again, we appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Please follow all 3 of us and all the work that we do. Everyone does a lot of great things here in the industry here. We'll be back next Monday, guys. We'll be talking. I don't know what we're doing yet. We might be doing a mock draft. I don't know. We'll see. But we will be getting some more content out next Monday. And then April's going to be here, and we're going to start getting into the rookie talk. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're getting close to that.
I want to come back for that.
You can come back for that. I'll bring you back on. Absolutely. We'll talk Rashad Bateman again. But we appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, whether you're listening live on our YouTube channel, listening afterwards on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, or if you're listening in on Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, we appreciate you guys. We're just here to help you guys win some championships. So we thank you all for listening. Tune in until next time, all, and have a good one.
Back to back is not far-fetched. We got a couple of claw